Hi, my name is David. I'm in Taiwan, and this is Taiwan in English. In today's exciting episode, we are going to start reading a classic tale. The truth is, I've already read it, and the editors are working on breaking it up into chunks that work in a video format. Reading it first made a couple of things very clear. The first is that old stories are really, really hard to read aloud or out loud if you prefer. So please, be kind. Many of these words are very uncommon or used in very different ways today. And the second thing is that it is very flowery, and too flowery for a modern story. It is so flowery that it might be hard to follow, but I have faith in you. I know you can do it. Okay, you might need to watch a few times. I'm also going to have a little summary and some short answer questions at the end. Don't forget, short answer questions are answered in sentences. Wait, I didn't tell you the name of the story. How could you let me prattle on like that when I haven't even told you that this is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, found among the papers of the late Dietrich Knickerbocker. A pleasing land of drowsy head it was, of dreams that wave before the half-shut eye, of a gay castle in the clouds that pass, forever flushing round a summer sky, castle of innocence. In the bosom of one of those spacious coves which indent the eastern shore of the Hudson, at the broad expanse of the river denominated by the ancient Dutch navigators the Tappan Zee, and where they always prudently shortened sails and implored the protection of St. Nicholas when they crossed, there lies a small market town or rural port, which by some is called Greensboro, but which is more generally and properly known by the name of Tarrytown. This name was given, as we are told, in former days by the good housewives of the adjacent country from the inveritable propensity of their husbands to linger about the village tavern on market days. But that, as it may, I will not vouch for the fact, but merely adverts to it, for the sake of being precise and authentic. Not far from the village, perhaps about 2 miles, there is a small valley, or rather lap of land among the high hills, which is one of the quietest places in the world. A small brook glides through it with just murmur enough to lull one to repose, and that occasionally whistle of a quail or tapping of a woodpecker is almost the only sound that ever breaks upon the uniform tranquility. I recollect that with a stripling, my first exploit in squirrel shooting was in a grove of tall walnut trees that shade one side of the valley. I had wandered into it at noontime when all nature is particularly quiet, and was startled by the roar of my own gun, as it broke the Sabbath stillness around what prolonged and reverberated by the angry echoes. If ever I should wish for a retreat whither, I might steal from the world and its distractions, and dream quietly away the remnants of a troubled life. I know of none more promising than this little valley. From the listless repose of this place and the particular character of its inhabitants, who are descended from the original Dutch settlers, this sequestered glen has long been known by the name of Sleepy Hollow, and its rustic lads are called the Sleepy Hollow Boys throughout all the neighboring country. A drowsy, dreamy influence seems to hang over the land and to pervade the very atmosphere. Some say that the place was bewitched by a high German doctor during the early days of the settlements. Others that an old Indian chief, the prophet or wizard of his tribe, held his power there before the country was discovered by Master Hendrik Hudson. Certain it is the place still continues under the sway of some witching power that holds a spell over the minds of the good people, causing them to walk in continual revelry. They are given to all kinds of marvelous beliefs, are subjects to trances and visions, and frequently see strange sights and hear music and voices in the air. The whole neighborhood abounds with local tales, haunted spots, and twilight superstitions. Stars shoot and meteors glare oftener across the valley than in other parts of the country. And the nightmare, with her whole ninefold, seems to make it the favorite scene of her gambols. The dominant spirit, however, that haunts this enchanted region and seems to be commander-in-chief of all the powers of the air is the apparition of a figure on horseback without a head. It is said by some to be the ghost of a Hessian trooper whose head had been carried away by a cannonball in some nameless battle during the Revolutionary War, and who is ever and anon seen by the country folk hurrying along in the gloom of night, as if by the wings of the wind. His haunts are not confined to the valley, but extend at times to the adjacent road, and especially to the vicinity of a church at no great distance. Indeed, certain of the most authentic historians of those parts, who have been careful in collecting and collating the floating facts concerning this specter, allege that the body of the trooper, having been buried in the churchyard, the ghost rides forth to the scene of battle in nightly quest of his head. And then the rushing speed with which he seamlessly passes along the hollow, like a midnight blast, is owing to his being belated and in a hurry to get back to the churchyard before daybreak. Such is the general purport of this legendary superstition, which has furnished material for many a wild story in that region of shadows. And the specter is known at all country firesides by the name of the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow. It is remarkable that the visionary propensity I have mentioned is not confined to the native inhabitants of the valley, but is unconsciously imbibed by everyone who resides there for a time. However wide awake they may have been when they entered the sleepy region, they are sure, in a little time, to inhale the witching influence of the air and begin to grow imaginative, to dream dreams and see apparitions. I mention this peaceful spot with all possible laud, for it is in such little retired Dutch valleys, found here and there embossed in the great state of New York, that population, manners, and customs remain fixed, while the great torrent of migration and improvement, which is making such incessant changes to other parts of this restless country, sweep by them unobserved. They are like these little nooks of still water which bore a rapid stream, where we may see the straw and bubble riding quietly at anchor, or slowly revolving in their mimic harbor, undisturbed by the rush of the passing current. Though many years have elapsed since I trod the drowsy shades of Sleepy Hollow, yet I question whether I should not find the same trees and the same families vegetating in its sheltered bosom. Well, that was something. Today's episode had 2.5 themes. First, the story starts out telling us about the area where the story takes place. It goes into great, almost painfully flowery descriptions of the towns and the areas around them and the people that live there. The second theme is about the beliefs and stories that the people that live there like to tell. And the half topic was talking about their favorite character, how he became what he is, and what he does. See? A nice short summary. Now, question number 1. What was the name of one of the towns or areas, there were 2, and why did it have that name? 2. What type of stories did the people like to tell each other? 3. Who was their favorite character, and how did he get to be the way that he is? That's it for today. Before you go, if you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And don't forget to comment below. And as always, if you have any questions, you can find me here or on social media, links below, and I'll see you in the next exciting episode of Taiwan in English. Bye.